Clear Lake, Texas. Our ESPN cameras are ready to capture the World Championship Budweiser World Cup. $125,000 up for grabs, Sam. Here comes the fleet.
Here you see John Petty in the Louis 4-star special heading up to the turn with about 30 seconds to go before the start of this race. Coming up on the inside, Jim Kropfeld, the Miss Budweiser. Also in there, Ron Armstrong and Bob Patterson special. Also in the field, the U00, the Atlas Van Lines, Chip Hanauer. The U30, Budweiser Light with Scott Pierce. The U17, Tempest, Jack Schaefer Jr. 6 boats on the course running for all the marbles here, Jim Hendrick.
And less than 10 seconds to go, Budweiser scoots low. Look at Budweiser. Kropfeld took it from left to right, wants lane number 1 as they come down. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Here comes the Atlas Van Lines and the Budweiser Light. They're all flying. The U80, and it's a great start. It's Budweiser on top by half a boat length as they come by, and it's going to be a side-by-side battle down to that first corner. The blue boat, the Atlas Van Lines, the red one, the Miss Budweiser, and as they come down to corner number 1, it's anybody's guess, Sam.
That's right, it is rookie Jim Kropfeld on the inside, and Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser coming up on the outside. Chip Hanauer, a 27-year-old bachelor out of Seattle, Washington, who earlier today clinched the National High Point Championship. He's in second place, and as they come out of that turn, it's Jim Kropfeld and Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser.
I think I heard a burble in the Atlas Van Lines engine. Sounded like it was going a little rough, and now Jim Kropfeld shakes it loose down off the South Shore Harbor cutoff as he comes off of corner number 2, down the back chute, and Kropfeld gets a little light on his right sponson. He puts up a beautiful rooster tail on a beautifully clear day here at Clear Lake.
That's right, Jim Kropfeld, a 42-year-old rookie out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Here's Chip Hanauer in the Atlas Van Lines. He's not running as well as he was earlier today, but everything seems to be going right. Bernie Little's Miss Budweiser as Kropfeld brings it out of turn 4 and heads down for the home stretch.
Bernie Little and the Miss Budweiser racing team, the defending world champions after taking this event in Acapulco, Mexico last year, and the completion of lap number 1. Sam, it's going to be close. The Atlas Van Lines are still getting chased. I believe that might be the best time of the year on that speed.
That's going to be a very fast speed. There's about a 3-second lead right now as Hanauer chases after Kropfeld into the turn. The speed, 135.338 miles an hour. That's a new world record in World Championship competition, and that's also the fastest lap turn here in Texas this week, 135.338 by Jim Kropfeld.
Correct me if I'm wrong, that might be the fastest lap in competition of 1982.
I believe it is. We'll have to check the books on that. It sure looks like it, but right now, Bernie Little's boat has got everything going its way.
And he can repeat as the world champion, as the Budweiser coming down the back chute in lap number 2. Pretty much his own way, about a 6-second lead. Looking very light on the front end is Chip Hanauer of the Atlas Van Lines. He looks like he's flying down that back chute.
He seems to be flying the boat rather well, but Kropfeld, the Budweiser people, have everything working their way. They had their share of problems in San Diego when Kropfeld got the ride just 3 weeks ago. They came out here. They changed their engines around. They qualified at 131-plus miles an hour. They won an earlier heat here today, but right now, Jim Kropfeld has everything his way, and it's got to be a good feeling for a rookie from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Looks like he slowed down a little bit, Sam. What was the lap speed on number 2?
122.783. Meanwhile, Chip Hanauer on this lap is up his speed. His speed that lap was 123.288 miles an hour, so he's cutting the gap on Kropfeld, about a second there.
With less than 4 laps to go, it's about a 4-second lead for the Miss Budweiser. The Bud Light currently now riding in 3rd place with Scott Pierce.
That's the 1981 co-rookie of the year, Scott Pierce and John Still's Budweiser Light. He's sitting back there at about 116 miles an hour, but here's our leader, Jim Kropfeld, in the Miss Budweiser. This is a Rolls-Royce Griffon-powered hydroplane, headquartered out of Seattle, Washington. The owner, Bernie Little, from Lakeland, Florida. Last weekend, Bernie completed a sweep in offshore racing, and he's after everything here for the World Championship and unlimited racing here today.
The Budweiser looking very good. In fact, the best has looked in the last 7 races. Coming down the back chute, giving chase now is the Atlas Van Lines. Still riding a little light is Chip Hanauer. Back to our leader as he goes into corners number 3 and 4. He'll come down to complete lap number 3, and there'll be 2 more laps to go. Just 5 miles to go, and the World Championship will be this young man from Cincinnati, Ohio. He is named Jim Kropfeld. Is a rookie. It's his 2nd race in his career for Unlimited.
You know, the last lap, we talked about the fact that Hanauer had whittled down on Kropfeld's lead. As we see him here, Kropfeld back in at 126.582. He picked up 2 more seconds on Hanauer on that lap.
So the Budweiser leads. Atlas Van Line is 2nd. The Bud Light is 3rd. Right now, I understand the Tempest is 4th. Louis on the lake 5th. And we have a problem, I understand, with U80. The Patterson boat is down in the water and out of this race. There's our leader right now, coming off the apex of corner number 2. Down the South Shore Harbor exit as he comes down the back chute to complete lap number 4. This time, he'll get the green flag, and he flies a little late. Look at him, a little late on that right end.
This would be a very good ending for Jim Kropfeld for this year. He came into the sport, finished down the lower half of the field out in San Diego, but he came on strong here today. Last year, he was the world champion in Grand Prix racing, a class right underneath Unlimited, but it looks like he's putting all that education to work here as Chip Hanauer chases after him.
All right now as they're coming down, it is going to be the Budweiser followed by the Atlas Van Lions. The boat just went by. Louis on the lake is about to be lapped. They just also lapped the Tempest. So those two boats running very slowly, but our leaders now have 1 lap to go. And it's less than 2.5 miles, and the World Championship can belong to this young man from Cincinnati, Ohio, Jim Kropfeld. And here's Chip Hanauer, doggedly watching his prey. He's experienced. He's got about 5 victories this year already.
That's right, Jim. You know, he slowed down quite a bit. It's like he says the race is over. Budweiser and Kropfeld turned lap 4 at 125.874 miles an hour. Hanauer and Atlas Van Lions slowed way down to 112.923. So right now, as Jim Kropfeld goes here on his last lap, it looks like he's on his way to the bank.
As we look into the sunlight here at Clear Lake, south of Houston, Texas, coming off of corner number 2, coming down the back chute with about 3/4 of a lap to go. It is going to be the Miss Budweiser on the way. This boat currently is running in 5th slot. Make that 4th slot. And that is Louis on the lake special. And now look at here. Here's our Budweiser. He's coming down the back chute. He has less than a half a lap to go. He's slowing down. Sam, the Budweiser with the checker flag out is slowing down. Something's wrong.
Okay, as we look down the course, as Kropfeld slows down, Jim, he's only 900 feet from the finish line. Hanauer's just coming out of turn 3 in the Atlas Van Line, but Jim Kropfeld just got to be the sorriest man in Clear Lake right now as he brings the Miss Budweiser down. He's trying to run it on the prime, Jim. Let's not get distracted with the Louis on the lake here because it's in 4th place. Right now, all the attention's on Kropfeld as he tries to get the Miss Budweiser across the line. Hanauer's heading into that turn, Jim Hendricks.
600 feet to go. The checker flag is waiting. You know that Chip Hanauer has spotted the Budweiser in trouble. He's going to come on, and if he don't get the Budweiser started, Kropfeld will have to lose, and the winner is going to be the Atlas Van Lions. I can't believe it. What a boat race. The Atlas Van Lions with Chip Hanauer. What a break. You know that this sport a little bit depends on luck, but this young man has now made a complete sweep. He's the world champion, the national champion, and he's also, of course, the Gold Cup champion.
That's right. You know, he had to know he won that race just as he came out of that exit pin on the final lap. He had settled back, looked content to finish second, came out of that turn, saw Kropfeld sitting there, and I think Chip Hanauer is just as surprised as we were as he came down there to take the checkered flag and win the World Championship, the 5th for Atlas Van Lions since they entered this sport.
And what a disappointment for Jim Kropfeld, the Budweiser Bernie little team. They've had a disastrous season. They could have wrapped it up on a high note if they could have just maintained some power, whatever happened in that engine, with about 600 feet to go. And right now, our 5th place boat is trying to come around and finish. That's Jack Shaver Jr. with the Tempest. Sam, let's give us the final order of finish.
Our winner, Atlas Van Lions and Chip Hanauer, the 1982 national and world champion in unlimited hydroplane racing. 2nd place will go to the Budweiser Light, driven by Scott Pierce out of Seattle, Washington. In 3rd, it's the Miss Budweiser and Jim Kropfeld. 4th place will go to Louis on the Lake, driven by John Petty out of Madison, Indiana. 5th place, the Tempest and Jack Shafer Jr. And our 6th place finisher will be Bob Patterson's U-80, driven by Ron Armstrong.
Our winning driver has got his hand up in victory, going back to his own pits. We'll have him to our ESPN microphones and our cameras in just a moment. I'll be very interested to find out when he spotted the Budweiser down and knew he had a chance to win at the very last moment. And we'll have that interview, and we'll wrap it up after this timeout. Back here at Clear Lake, Texas, the world champion of 1982 is this man right here, the driver of the Atlas Van Lions boat, Chip Hanauer. Chip, you've won it all.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable year for Atlas Van Lions.
I can't believe the thrilling battle. 900 feet to go. The Budweiser we hear now had lost the throttle cable. The linkage went. He couldn't get any gas to the engine. When did you notice he had a problem?
About 3/4 of the way up the back chute, I looked across and started counting boats to see if Budweiser had made it. And I couldn't find everybody but him. So I knew he was down somewhere, and I just scrambled to the line.
Sam Crow, you're standing with a very happy sponsor, the chairman of the board of Atlas Van Lions OH Frisbee.
That's right, OH. After this victory, you're now the winningest sponsor in Thunderboat history. A triple crown this year. That's many accomplishments since last December when you decided to stay in this sport.
Yes, this is our 15th year, and this has to be, in spite of all the great years we've had, the greatest year in the history of Atlas Van Dyke Racing program. We're so happy to be down here and win this first race in Houston, where we have so many friends, and our agents worldwide are listening in, all over the United States and in Europe, I understand, is listening to this race, and we're just thrilled to death. This has been the greatest year we've ever had, with one of the nicest and the finest drivers in the history, and the winningest driver now in the history of powerboat racing, I believe. And we're just on top of the world.
I'm sure you are. O.H. Frisbee, the chairman of the board of Atlas Van Lines, the driver of the winner, Chip Hanauer, on behalf of Sam Kroll. I'm Jim Hendrick. Of course, there's more action all year on your Total Sports Network, ESPN. This is